Hello and welcome to my review of the Master Grade Unicorn Gundam Perfectibility. This is a Gundam-based limited exclusive kit. So right out of the box, you'll get the Master Grade Unicorn Gundam with the blue Psycho Frame, an Armed Armor BS or Beam Smart Gun, an Armed Armor VN or Vibration Nails, an Armed Armor XC or Xeno Connect, an Armed Armor HJ or Hyper Beam Javelin, 2 Armed Armor DEs or Defense Extension, 2 Tail Stabilizers, 4 beam sabers, 2 on the backpack and 2 on the forearms, 2 clear blue effect parts for the Hyper Beam Javelin, 2 clear beam saber effect parts, 1 beam magnum, 2 spare ammo packs for the beam magnum, a bazooka, a transforming V-fin, a fixed destroy mode V-fin, some pilot figures, and an action base attachment piece. You'll also get a large sheet of foil stickers as well as gray stickers, some clear stickers and dry transfers, and a lot of leftover pieces. Seriously, you can create some pretty cool custom color schemes with the leftover parts. So here is the unicorn mode, and I have to say I think it looks pretty good. The normal unicorn mode can be a little boring, but here there's a lot of blue details. The white they used also has an almost pearlish finish to it. The same goes for the colored blue parts. Unfortunately, spinning him around is a bit difficult since the tail stabilizers take up a lot of room. So here's a quick back shot to show off just how long the tail stabilizers really are. So for a full articulation review, I suggest you check out a review of the regular Master Grade Unicorn Gundam. I'll be sure to link mine. But here, I'll just be taking a look at the more unique stuff, mainly the armed armors. So here is the Armed Armor BS from the Master Grade Banshee. It's going to be built into the arm. To deploy it, you'll first want to fold up the fingers like so, and then swing out the whole weapon. Once you do, you'll want to swing out this tiny part here and fully extend it, swing the weapons over the hand, and then use this part to cover up the hand. Like so. And once deployed, you can slide down the bottom as well as the top barrel to show off some blue Psycho frame, though I think in unicorn mode, it looks better closed. Next is the Armed Armor VN, also from the Master Grade Banshee. Similar to the BS, it's going to be built into the arm as well. In unicorn mode, it's really going to look more like a giant boxing glove than a set of giant claws though. Technically, the VN shouldn't move at all in unicorn mode. It's only going to be movable in the deploy destroy mode. So to transform it, the first thing I'm going to do is to pull out the 2 upper claws. They're usually going to lock into the bottom claws. Once you deploy them, they're going to have a bit of up and down movement, though not too much wiggle room off to the sides. For the bottom 2 claws, you can also deploy them like so, and it's on the sliding mechanism you see here where it slides down, and then it gets this angle where it can move up and down, and just like the top claws, not much side to side. So on the backpack is the Armed Armor XC from the P Bandai Master Grade Banshee Norn. For those who don't know, this armed armor is designed to help improve the affinity between the pilot and the mobile suit. So this might actually be my favorite armed armor while in unicorn mode. The large amount of blue back here really helps spice up the white color scheme. I think it looks even better than the Banshee Norn version since the Banshee already has the gold collar and V-fin. Unfortunately, the piece back here doesn't lock into place or anything like that. It's just going to be the joints here holding it in a symmetrical position. So to transform the XC, you're going to rotate this piece up and then twist it around like so. And when you do so, just fold this piece out, and you should have a more elaborate looking armed armor. Once transformed, you're going to expose 2 beam sabers as well as some clear blue Psycho frame. The manual tells you to put some silver foil stickers underneath to better reflect the blue. It looks really cool, and again, I really like this pearlish blue plastic. So here is the Armed Armor DE from the Master Grade Phoenix. It's just a regular unicorn shield, but with more armor attached. On the underside, you can completely see the shield, and there's a little flap up here that you can move up and down. But back to the front side, you're going to see a lot of great details. These are actually all stickers. It's always a bit disappointing to see color correcting stickers on a Master Grade, but it's kind of understandable. The Armed Armor DE is already heavy as it is, and to be honest, they don't look terrible. You're also going to get a molded Mecha Cannon up here at the top. So for the transformation, you'll first want to slide the shield out and then pull out these clear blue Psycho frame parts, like so. And now here at the top, you'll want to slide open these 2 parts, which in turn allow these 2 parts to slide open as well, exposes some more clear blue Psycho frame. And finally here at the bottom, you just want to pull out these 2 tails. And now finally, the previously monotone DE now looks a lot more exciting. So here is the DE tail stabilizer from the P Bandai Master Grade Phoenix narrative version. It's going to be composed of 8 links that gradually decrease in size, and they're going to be attached via a PVC metal wire, which gives the tail a good amount of stability as well as maneuverability. Attaching it to the DE is just a matter of plugging it in, and overall I have to say it's a pretty cool effect, and the tail is super long. Here is the attachment mechanism for the Armed Armor DE onto the backpack. You're going to get a bit of movement here, here, and finally here as well. And to actually attach it onto the backpack, you're just going to fold apart the XC, and this part should clip in nicely to the exposed psychoframe part, as well as the hole on the back originally designed for the Beam Magnum. Here is the Armed Armor HJ from the Master Grade Full Armor Unicorn Gundam, and this is compact mode. To deploy it, you'll first want to detach the handle, detach it up here, and then fold it out like so. And once you do that, you can reattach the handle here in the middle. And once you plug in the clear blue effect parts, the Hyper Beam Javelin suddenly gets even bigger. And here is another configuration of the Hyper Beam Javelin. You're just going to detach the bottom and plug it up here, and then slide the handle up 1 notch. For the Destroy Mode transformation, these 2 parts can slide open to expose some clear blue psychoframe. And lastly, the Bazooka and the Beam Magnum are going to be identical to the regular Master Grade Unicorn. So the Master Grade Unicorn mold isn't exactly known for its posing, but it can pull off the looking down your beam rifle pose. Though most might prefer the looking down your beam spark gun pose instead. The Unicorn mode's poses are a bit limited, seeing how you can't really use his left hand, but here he is with the beam saber. I really like that clear blue. If you want him on an action base, I actually suggest using one of the default connector pieces that the action base comes with, because the one that the kit comes with is a bit too weak to hold up the huge backpack. But once you do get him up in the air, he's going to look pretty good, and here he is launching off to fight the Neo Zeon. Of course, most people prefer the Destroy mode, so here he is all transformed. He suddenly feels a lot more intimidating with the added height and added mass thanks to the transformed armed armor. The clear blue psychoframe looks great next to the white. While he does look overall very amazing, not everything is perfect. The proportions of the MG Destroy mode has always been a little wonky for me, mainly how small the head feels. The transformed V-fin is also going to be molded in 1 color. If you want to use the transforming V-fin, it's going to be molded in white as well, and you'll have to use color correcting stickers to get the correct colors. I've been trying to get him to hold the Hyper Beam Javelin, but the hole on the handle here is actually more of a notch than an actual hole, so it's not a very sturdy connection. In addition to that, the handle connection here is going to be very loose, and since the actual javelin is very heavy, I don't think this thing is especially wieldy. Here he is up in the air once again. He can pull off the box art pretty well, though I don't have a Neo Zeon to put in the background. The main difficulty is going to be getting him to properly hold his transformation and the Hyper Beam Javelin. As I mentioned before, the connection isn't super solid, and I'm kind of tricking it here by getting the javelin to rest against the thigh. The vibration nails look very intimidating. It no longer gives off the chunky boxing glove vibe. In Destroy mode, you can also deploy the Beam Tonfa to make the VN even more dangerous. The kit itself is obviously very heavy, and as you can see here, it's slightly tilting the action base. And here he is with the Beam Smart Gun deployed. The little bit of clear blue on the barrel looks great. I haven't said too much about the backpack, mostly because it's pretty static, but they really add a lot to the perfectibility, both in terms of looks and weight. The DE actually has quite a bit of mobility thanks to the arm and tail, though I'm quite worried about how strong the arm attachment actually is. So now for some of my final thoughts on the Master Grade Unicorn Gundam Perfectibility. Starting with the cons, this is a Master Grade Unicorn. I didn't talk about it too much during this review, but the articulation is a bit limited and the kit just isn't that solid. Posing it in Unicorn mode is actually pretty fun and simple, but the Destroy mode is a different story. Parts constantly fall off and detransform, and speaking of posing, it can pull off some grounded poses, but you basically need an action base to get the most out of this kit. And even then, up in the air, the backpack is so heavy that it still has problems posing well and not falling off an action base. Another con is the use of color correcting stickers. They're limited to the V-fin and the Armed Armor DE, and while I understand why they are there, it still feels a bit cheap on a Master Grade. The biggest con against this kit is probably the pricing and the availability. Being a Gundam Base limited kit, you're forced to either buy this in person at Gundam Base or buy it at a hefty markup. This kit is massive too. In addition to all these parts, there are a lot of wasted parts. One plate only has you using a singular part for this Gundam. Paying perfect grade price for Master Grade is a bit of a difficult sell. But moving on to the pros, the biggest and main pro is definitely its looks. I think this kit looks amazing. Yeah, the idea is a little bit kit bashy, just stick all the armed armors onto Unicorn, but the little changes like the blue plastic and the blue psycho frame really nail it for me. The execution is pretty great too. The white and blue plastic have a little pearl finish to them, which really gives it a holy vibe, which is fitting given that it's on a Unicorn. Another small pro is that on the ground, the kit doesn't really have any balancing issues. The tail stabilizers serve as extra point of ground contact to offset the heavy backpack. It's hard to gauge if the inclusion of all these extra parts is a pro or a con. On one hand, you can use them to create your own custom color schemes or have a lot of spare Unicorn parts. However, if you don't have any use for them, they're pretty much just wasted. So overall, I think the kit looks amazing, but at the end of the day, it's still a Master Grade Unicorn. It's hard to recommend this to anyone other than a die-hard Perfectibility fan. I think with the announcements of the Master Grade Extreme Unicorn Gundam Vert-Ka, we'll eventually get a updated Perfectibility that solves a lot of the issues on the current kit. So this has been my review of the Gundam Base Limited Unicorn Gundam Perfectibility. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.